Hunter Kennedy,
What's up?
the man. How you doing, man?
Cool, bro.
So, as I was saying just before, just to have before we started, is I like for guests to introduce themselves in terms of how they want to introduce themselves now. I mean, you may or may not be known as something different to some people. And who's Hunter Kennedy right now?
Yeah, great question. I always struggle with it, but this is my name. um, I, dude, I play in two bands, Fokofpolisiekar and guitarist. I'm primarily a lyricist for my vocation, but I like to dabble. I enjoy the arts. That's basically, yeah.
And you recently started a clothing company.
Yes, with a friend of mine. Yeah, we are rolling that boulder up the hill.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's two different things, and I don't want to necessarily go into either one, but tell us sort of, so people may or may not know you in the band Fokofpolisiekar, Hier was Fantasties, and other things, and you're known mainly as a writer of good music, lyricist, as you said. But I want to know a little bit about, how that is a business. How is doing music from when you started, which was obviously a very young age, and how that obviously, I'm sure, wasn't a business that you thought. You were just playing in a band, I guess. But from your perspective, like, how is making music, being in bands, a business? Because it's all that you do, and I think you've pretty much always done that up until now. So give us a little bit of insight from the beginning days, how that makes you money.
Shit. I mean, I've been I've been playing in a band with Francois since I was in standard 9, just like grade 11 these days, which was 1999 about. And I mean, obviously then we didn't really think about making money. It was more just I want to play in a band. I don't know, this need to self-express and whatever, and finding people that are on the same wavelength as you. I went to go study graphic design. And then they said that they're either going to fail me or I could go into fine arts, and then they'll pass me for the year. So that morphed into fine arts, and then but I was absolutely a terrible student. Instead of exams, I would get on the train with Francois and we'd go and record pre-Fokofpolisiekar band You Will Decide album in Joburg, and just miss exams.
Everything.
So, but yeah, I mean, I didn't really. I don't know, dude. I still kind of don't know what I want to do for a living, So it's it's
many people don't.
Money's never really been a big motivator for me. Even it's almost like a necessity kind of thing. And obviously you do want to get to a place where you don't necessarily have to budget or whatever, which I'm not sure where that saturation point is, but so then it morphed into Fokofpolisiekar, bands broke up. The guys that really wanted to make music for a living kind of stuck around, and because we were in a bit of a punk scene in Cape Town and Joburg, and it wasn't really something like my dad wasn't upset about the band's name, Fokofpolisiekar, as much as he was upset that I thought that I was going to make a living out of making music. You know what I mean? He was like, "Fuck, you're."
Did he think you were going to make a living out of art, or I mean, graphic design would be more like
a career. Studying fine arts, fucking not that much. I guess graphic design, at least, obviously in the sort of boomer mindset. I understand that when you get a degree, then someone will hire you, and there's this. And I mean, I've just never really, I don't know, conformed or been into any sort of deeply trodden path, and just kind of following my own head, my own pig-headedness. But so Fokofpolisiekar was essentially the guys sort of left over from other bands breaking up that wanted to make music for a living, even though we knew it was a terrible idea. We wanted to give it a shot. I mean, I was, 2003, I was 21 at the time.
Okay.
Working actually in Bubs, my business partner in the clothing brand now, skate shop, and sort of writing Fokof lyrics on the side. So I was working in a skate shop to pay my rent.
But at least there was more down your alley to working in a skate shop, I guess. More aligned.
Exactly. It was super chill. Yeah, I mean, it was just the two of us working in that store, and I mean, it was obviously kind of relaxed. Two buddies selling skate shit. You know, it was in the same scene. And I mean, they actually, Bubs and his brother Jem were making skate videos, and they played. They put myself and Franco's previous band, New World Inside, in the skate videos, and that's how we got a record deal. So it was all like one sort of scene.
That's
that we were a part of. But yeah, that band broke up, and everyone in that music scene was like, "Fuck, starting an Afrikaans band is a terrible idea." So everyone was telling us it's a terrible idea, but when you I think we just followed whatever we wanted to do anyway, and we thought it was a great idea, so we were going to go for it. And then we were shit poor for like for longer than that, but really. So we moved into a house together, myself, Einat, and Francois. And Snake and Johnny still lived with their parents. So any money we would make would actually go to the three of us paying for, because they could survive off of their parents' bums, right? So I mean, we were paying rent, and so Einat would make us like lunch, fucking chicken stir fry. I think that's all we ate, and we obviously drank fucked up.
Where was this house? Just for interest sake.
In Durbanville. I mean, the neighbors weren't happy, but the people that we stayed, the house that we stayed in, that guy was like, "You guys can break it down. We're going to demolish the place anyway." So
that's cool.
Took that to heart, and I mean, that place was an absolute fucking heroin den. I remember recording, not actually the drug, but you know what I mean.
No, sure.
What you think about it looks like.
Well,
other drugs,
or crack house.
But crack house, exactly. Also didn't smoke crack at that point in time. I remember recording in Boxburg, and we were staying in Pretoria, and like we just didn't have a lot of bucks. Like I think we each had 50 rand for the day, or something like
you had a budget,
100 rand. 100 rand for the day between the five of us, and obviously a packet of Engis would swallow up like a big part of that, and then booze, and then maybe we'd each have left over to buy a sandwich to eat or something. Yeah, I mean, we cocked on like that.
2003, Fokof started, huh?
2003, Fokof started, and this, I mean, to about 2006, at 2000, and I mean, it was going well for the band. You know, we were gaining notoriety, and someone like Carl, who's the organizer of Opikopi, sort of saw potential in us, and he put us on a. They had an exchange program with a Belgian festival called Fokopop.
Yes,
we went to go play there, and so being on tour was actually cool because then you had money, right? And you would the venues would give you a bar tab and a meal or whatever. So it was shit being at home because then you fucking broke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but by about 2006, we had. I don't know. It was just living hard and in each other's space all the time, and we didn't know where the band was going, and fucking I don't know. I remember Johnny had started a project with Jack's Panic where they were doing advertising scores, and as sort of like a business. You know what I mean? Obviously, you were starting to think, "Fuck, I'm going to need to make some money." But I would need the other guys with me to exactly tell you what happened.
No, sure.
But
just from your perspective.
I think, Yeah. Essentially, I think we had just fucking burnt out, like just from touring all the time and whatever.
Yeah.
So we called a hiatus, which is
Okay.
just like, fuck, we just need to take a break kind of thing. But I mean, that only lasted for about 3 months. We started playing live again 3 months after we took.
I suppose
the break.
people are calling you at the stage, you know, because you might have taken a break, but someone wants you to play. Maybe there's momentum.
Yeah, exactly. At that, we had released an album called Swana Song, which translates to Swan Song, and so obviously that it was kind of there in the messaging. But a song of ours, Axkein Heilig, was doing really well on the MK Music channel, and it was sort of more listener friendly, and I guess kind of not really what people were expecting, but I mean, a lot of people were relating to that song, and so all of a sudden calls were coming in for us to play, and it was like,
right,
you know,
might as well.
We tried to break up, it didn't work, but yeah, and in that 3-month period, I think I bartended at Foss's. He had a
Sergeant
restaurant.
Pepper.
No, not before Sergeant Pepper. It was here in the Tiger Waterfront.
Yes,
he had like it wasn't Cattle Baron, but it was one of those steakhouses.
Yeah, he was managing it. Yeah.
So he gave me a job as a bartender.
Okay.
I was a terrible employee. So I think he was just doing me a favor, and I was writing like a rubriek, like like an opinion piece for the young burger, you know, just for some extra bucks. And in that 3-month hiatus, Pierre Grief's band, Lyrical Guitar, broke up, and we were hanging out a lot. Our girlfriends were good friends, and we started the Yevils together with Johnny producing, and I think Snake asked me to come help them write for A King. So started A King as well. So you know, one band took a break, and then all of a sudden 3 other bands and Fokofpolisiekar popped up.
Right.
Which is almost like the Hydra's head, right? You cut one off, and then all of a sudden there's 4 more, which is fucking hilarious. And then sort of, I don't know whether it was, I mean, it almost feels like unwittingly we were sort of just riding a great wave, because MK had really pushed Afrikaans youth culture. And so all of a sudden, and I mean, it was essentially taking Koos Becker or whatever's money and funneling it into young subculture, you know, and they would put up festivals across the country at high schools and shit, and then pay us to play there. So and just right place, right time. So those bands, I was playing more often, and at one stage I was making quite good money by playing the 3 bands, but it was an absolute fuck up for a diary. Yeah, you can imagine.
Yes,
because all 3 bands are kind of in demand, and it's just impossible to play.
There's only so many places you can be at once.
Yeah. Myself and Pierre started a record label at that stage as well, and we were putting out Zander's debut album. And I remember being in the studio.
This is towards 2010 around, I would guess.
It's like 2009, to 2010, something like that. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, around there. And I just remember being in the studio with A King, but having to sort out like fucking the CD printing, and, you know, some like selling it into music. I can't even remember what, but I mean, my mind wasn't really at the recording, which kind of sucked. But I was also working at a magazine as an editor with MK. So I've always done sort of, I don't know if you can tell, but sort of different things, you know.
Yes.
And then I kind of had to make, just because it wasn't working, I kind of had to make a choice to leave one thing, and it was difficult. But, you know, with Pierre and Yevils and our record label, it didn't really make sense for me to drop Yevils and be on the label. I don't know. So, and Fokofpolisiekar, we tried to break up, and it didn't work. And Fokof wasn't really taking up that much time. But so, you know, I chose to leave A King, for better or for worse, because I mean, both bands were actually doing quite well. So it wasn't an easy decision. And then we kind of just cucked on for a few years, man. I mean, and steadily.
With Fokof now, huh?
with Fokov and Yevils.
Okay.
Yevils was growing in popularity in like the mainstream culture. Huisgenoot asked us to perform Skouspel, which is this big
yes,
big show that they have at Sun City, and it's lots of press and media, and obviously because we don't have a swear word in the name and we weren't that
yes.
fucking hectic, we were doing quite well in CD sales, and Power's album did really well, and the record label. I mean, so the income sort of grew.
So Para was signed to that record label. What was that called?
Suburban, and we just did the first album. I think he went on his own. Yeah, I mean, it was just a chaotic time, right? Lots of business deals and meeting people and fucking. But I'm lucky. I'm not really the business guy, but like in Jevels, Pierre is the business minded dude, and Feyenoord in Fokofpolisiekar.
In Fokov, right?
It's kind of like they manage the money, which is why I thought it was funny that you want to have this conversation with me. But regardless, so I would say if you're like me, find someone that knows about this shit and does this shit. Because with Pierre, like he would, I'm thankful now, but like we made PSG investments at that stage when we were getting lumps of money in and sorted out RAs at that stage. And you know what I mean? So because that's not something that I didn't have. What's rekeningkunde in English?
Accounting.
I didn't have accounting in high school.
Bookkeeping.
But I just didn't. I just don't think about money. It's like, to me, it's like water. It comes in and fucking, whatever. The flow of it is more important than the stockpiling of it.
Which is why I think it is interesting to talk to you about it if you are like that. Not that I knew that specifically, but I think in whatever you're doing, there's many people that are like that. And, some that do it naturally for whatever reason, some that don't. And I think people do want to hear from someone that, is, I guess, doing okay. Who knows? And didn't necessarily think about it, but had people around them that would assist with that. I think handing over something completely to someone is always a mistake. I think you need to obviously choose those people wisely. And talking about an RA, actually, I think I was an insurance agent at Liberty. I think I sold Para his first RA.
Nice, amazing. Shit. I mean, the money convo is, but so. Sorry, I just want to. So, where were we at that? I don't know. We're kind of in the middle of 2013, 14 somewhere. I think and basically the last album we released as a label was Francois' first solo album. I mean, then CDs were still doing well, and I mean, I don't really, and it sort of, the brands sort of just kept growing to a certain level. Obviously, the curvature of growth wasn't as steep, but it's it's just a solid sort of. I don't want to say plodding along, because obviously it's still exciting, and we make new music, and we're having a lot of fun. I mean, ups and downs, obviously, but so I mean, essentially, I make and the bands turned into businesses, registered fucking
companies.
We used to be a CC, and we're probably PTYs now. And like, we pay salaries, you know what I mean? I draw a salary or I invoice, because I mean, there are tax implications. And along the way, you learn a bit more. Like, the publishing world is an absolute shit show. Things changed quite a bit with the advent of the streaming services and that revenue model, because usually you would pay a big lump sum to record an album, like your costs, but then you would recoup that within 1 month of releasing the album. You would recoup your costs and make your profit. Whereas now it's this trickle through.
And how would you do that? From like CD sales, or like, I mean, when you say that you would,
CD sales. Well, CD would release, for instance, Fokofpolisiekar, we didn't really do that well in CD sales, but we sold a lot of tickets. You know, the live show was
Okay.
so it didn't really hurt Fokofpolisiekar that much. But and I wouldn't say it hurt Yevils because Pierre was really on it and early adopter with the technology and the streaming services. But yeah, I mean, with something like Yevils' second album, we spend say 300,000-400,000 rand to record an album, and then within the first month you sell 20,000 albums, you know, and so you make like between a bar and 2 bar, and that's your profit. That's your project. That's your big project for the year. And you know, so
and then you tour, and then you get
and
booked.
then you tour. Yeah. But yeah, so now it's I get 2 salaries from Yevils and Fokofpolisiekar, and I live off of I pay my streaming royalties into my account as well. So it's those 3 are my major. You know, that makes up my monthly income, and then I do some odd jobs. Like I might do an ad or a movie score or fucking whatever other shit. But yeah.
Explain the music score. Is that for anything like an ad or a movie, or is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a cool. I mean, they're few and far in between, but mates of mine, Joshua Malabe, is a director, and they were doing a brand ad for OK, and OK was looking for something like that. I don't know if you'll probably remember it. That VW ad. I remember the days of our lives. You know, they were looking for that sort of nostalgic vibe.
Okay.
And so I just, you know, I wrote a song and they liked it. And I mean, that was like...
Yeah. So you write it specifically for that ad. They want something, you kind of workshop it.
Yeah, and they own it. They buy you out. So it's like you don't own the publishing or the master recording or anything. That it's all theirs. And so that's a pretty big check. But that's few and far in between. You know, I'm quite interested in narrative, and I wouldn't mind one day making my own film. So I'm kind of just getting closer to the film industry, and we did a score recently for a movie that's coming out now. Where, I mean, the pay isn't great. You're not going to get rich off of it, but just sort of by osmosis, like gathering information on how it works and shit is rad for me.
Right. Just in terms of when you say you draw salary from a band, it goes into an entity. Like you previously, it was a CC, now it's probably a company. That's obviously everything that the band does. You know, it's not just necessarily the music, the touring, merch, anything.
So what I wanted to say is that most of that income is live. It comes from live income. So that's our biggest
performing live.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's a whole thing, you know, because venue owners, so we've got a set fee and
to perform.
Perform, and so if you're a promoter, you would pay the set fee, and then on top of that, you would pay our airplane tickets and our accommodation.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you sometimes get to perform in Australia, where I happen to be as well, and really cool.
Yeah, so that would be. I wonder what Wynand's deal is with that promoter. I don't know if he went for. So I know some of the European tours Wynand would organize himself, and that would be us taking the risk as a business.
As a risk, But you fund it yourself and then recoup through ticket sales and all of that.
Yeah, and then obviously take a larger percentage of the ticket sales.
Right.
But in Australia, I think we partnered with Arnu. I don't know if you met Arnu that evening. The older gentleman.
The promoter, seen as a promoter.
And so I think he maybe takes a bigger risk, but he pays us a fee and maybe a smaller percentage of the ticket sales or something.
Of the tickets.
But yeah, I mean, so for us, the European and British trips that we organize ourselves is a great windfall because of the exchange rate, you know. But with Fokofpolisiekar, it's the beer as well, and the merchandise, and you know, all of that shit sort of adds up at the end of the day. But yeah, at a stage we were just splitting everything, just splitting the cash that you get paid out or what, because I mean, you can definitely live a life like that, but it's harder to plan. And obviously we want to have reserves to be able to record albums and shit. So I think at a stage it just got easier. If you, and like buying a house was a fucking massive mission.
Yeah, because you now need a salary slip, because it's much easier to buy anything, a car, a house, or anything, if you actually have a salary slip from a company. So you have a salary slip from Fokofpolisiekar and whatever whatever the company's called.
And even though I'm a director on that company, then the bank's like, okay, cool. But if I just say I'm in the band and this is what I make, they're like, we don't believe you. So it's interesting.
Well, theoretically, when one has that, it's just from a business perspective. I mean, it's you have a company, you may or may not be a director, but you then could also be an employee. But as long as you've got something showing that you've got an income that's relatively regular and it's consistent, then you're going to be able to borrow money.
Yeah. So like I said, but I mean that. I think I actually had to get my home loan because I own my house with my brother-in-law, and I don't think they wanted to give me a home loan, so I had to. I did have my fucking pay slips and whatever. So obviously our businesses, we don't really show a massive profit,
Sure.
But and so I actually had to wangle the home loan with my brother-in-law's portfolio, doing the heavy lifting. Yeah, I mean,
I think that's actually a good segue into personal finances, because now you've talked about this business of music, that the progression, how you may started the bands, how the bands progressed as a business and make money, and how they make money, and then you get this personal income wherever it may come from, and then you need to start thinking about things around your personal finances. You're married, you've got a kid, and then you need to start thinking about budgeting and how to spend that money. Tell us a little, about that in terms of your current sort of, because at the moment, and I think maybe let's talk about more now. I mean, if you want to go back further, you can, but in terms of, how, now that you have a consistent income, because I think the more consistent your income is, and that's what you've tried to create from what we've discussed, is a somewhat of a consistent income or incomes that you now can plan, and you can start deciding how you do that. And how do you do that? I mean, is it something you do for yourself? Do you have people from a personal finance perspective now? And
sure.
What do you do? What's your philosophy? What do you know? What don't you know? Where do you think you may or may not lack in that?
I am not a great budgeter. I don't really know. My wife's always like, "How much did that cost?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know." Dude, yeah. I mean, I've got a limit. I can't go over a limit. That I set for myself. So I guess in that way, it's a budget. Look, I stopped drinking and smoking weed, then it's a lot easier to manage your money. If you're drunk, then it's like, fuck, I'll buy everyone around.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, like I said, having people like Pierre and sort of just copying what he was doing, and before I even get my cash from Yevels, for instance, my RA is paid, my medical is paid.
Right. From the company perspective. Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, from the company. And then I invoice Fokofpolisiekar, because that was actually a fuck up with the tax, having two different salaries. Yeah. So now I invoice as a sole proprietor. I invoice Fokofpolisiekar.
Right.
And we pay PAYE through with Yevels. So I've got a tax advisor. That was definitely the most important thing.
That's because if you're invoicing, then you're getting that, but you still have to potentially pay tax on that depending on what that income is for the year. Yeah,
and I just don't want that headache. So and I'm quite scared of SARS. I don't want to fuck around with that shit. So a tax advisor is a brilliant person.
Yes.
to have, because
to have.
we actually get quite cool tax breaks as sole proprietors. You know, unless you're
Right.
really fucking cooking, it's not going to be so bad. But yeah, dude. I mean, and I've got, like I said, we've got that investment that we made a while ago, and I've kind of been watching that grow. It's not good enough, but you know, I am not. I'm just rolling with it. to be honest with you,
Right.
yeah, I'm not like a fucking. I don't think I am. What's the word? Like, I don't think I waste my money. Like for making clothes now, I would order stuff because I want to check out how it's made, or what, you know.
Okay, for your own clothing brand now, yeah.
Yeah, there's always a reason. I would, and like we got a big payout for the OK ad, and I could have invested it, but I decided to take my family overseas and spend 2 weeks together. I just thought that was maybe worth it a bit more, you know.
Yeah.
Like I obviously I am obviously a bit of a dreamer, and so you hope that I'm 44 now, and you know, I hope that something great is going to happen before I turn 60. Right. But I've also sort of made peace with the fact that I'm probably not going to retire. You know, that sort of old idea of retiring. I'm not sure that's in. First of all, I don't necessarily want to. Like, I checked my dad retiring, and then it kind of felt like he was just sitting in front of the TV and getting angry at politicians instead of doing shit. Yeah. Whereas I'm not like a rugby player, you know what I mean? I can keep on making music, like, I don't know, Bob Dylan or fucking Neil Young or whatever. And then hopefully as we add to our music catalog, that would grow in value. And, you know, that, so we, I don't know. It's, lots of things to fucking keep
in mind.
In mind. But I'm not putting away big lumps of cash monthly to save up for what there's a term for it when this is the amount of money you need not to work and not to I don't know what that is. Look, retire early. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah. But I just want to go back to the point. I think that you mentioned the word boomer and our parents, and this and exactly why one needs to also consider this. And you know, this retirement age, whatever it is, 55. See, our age, you can, you know, start cashing in 55, 60, 65. It's is it really relevant? You know, I don't think it necessarily is, because, you know, if you had to run some numbers and you'd be like, okay, I want to stop working at this age, I need this lump sum to do that. It's, you know, you would have had to start very early, you know, and actually save. And, you know, this balance also between, and you mentioned going with your family, you know, you also need to live, right? You also need to live and do things on your bucket list. And those things need to kind of balance out, I would say. And the only thing that would stop you from working till the day you die is, I guess, health, which is why it's also become a very important thing, I think, currently, because people are realizing that whatever they may be doing, in your case, you know, you look at it, okay, I could do this. Another person goes, well, these things, if you're someone that advises people on things, you can do that as long as you can speak and think a little bit. Again, health. So if you have Alzheimer's, you might not, you know. So these are considerations, and it's this balance that you need to have between living life, doing what you want to do, and are you doing those things, making some money, putting some money away, and spending some money, because, you know, spending money is important. There's a term called lifestyle financial planning. You know, it's like, no, I don't just want to think about, I'm going to get this, I'm going to save this, and I'm going to retire at this age. Those are very linear things. They don't allow for flexibility. They don't allow for flexibility of what you do, how you do it, and how you want to actually live your life. But yeah, that's me rambling on now. This is why I'm not
No,
supposed to
no,
be
it is
talking.
true. I mean, that made me think. That made me think now of, I don't know whether it was through pop culture or something, but you definitely got the idea that a lot of people were putting their lives on hold to start living after retirement. And I mean, that is
Yes.
not the
It's not
kind
the,
of life that I am leading or want to
yeah,
lead. I mean,
exactly.
I think I'm playing my life much like I would play a video game, where it's like, yeah,
Right.
I keep the sort of just above the bare minimum stockpiled, and the rest of it is just fucking Leroy
Yeah.
Jenkins in there and fucking going. You know what I mean? I think I got about 20 years of hardcraft left in me, and I'm gonna do that and then fucking see what happens.
See
Which
from
is
there.
not a great strategy. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. But yeah, that's what I'm doing.
But it has to be something for yourself. At the end of the day, you can take and look at examples of anyone and how you should or shouldn't be doing things. But you in order to, I guess, have some kind of happiness or contentment with your own life, you need to be living it the way that you think is good. And yes, considering things that we are told in terms of money and how to handle that and who we take advice from. I think we also need to be very careful on who we do listen to, because obviously the trust becomes a big thing. So, who do you trust? You've mentioned Pierre. He's someone that understands certain things around money. So you trust his counsel, in terms of what he does. And then, one does, and give me your take on it. One does need to also then potentially trust people that you don't know, that have a particular skill, to start giving you some input. But telling someone what to do, and especially in the music sort of side, and I think I'm kind of thinking about that, is when the fuck have you ever been told what to do? You fucking started a band, you did what you wanted to do. Like, how do you see that? Like, because I mean, and no one likes to be told what to do, but
yeah. Look, I mean, I think it's quite interesting what we've seen. I've definitely seen some stuff over the years, like sort of one-hit wonder Kwaito Amapiano artists that get the first big check and then they buy like a Lambo. It's just like, not that I'm the best at financial planning, but that's like a fucking terrible idea. You know what I'm saying? And because then they never make another hit, and and I don't know, then you got a Lambo. So
but
it's I think Paro also did quite a good job, with his first big paychecks. He bought a house in Tamboerskloof and fucking paid it off, and now he's got a great asset. And in my life, on the other hand, there's Bobs that I have this company with, and he's way more in like investment, and I think you guys also met at a crypto. I just don't know a lot about that world. It's unfortunately it just doesn't. There's no magnetism for me in that specific stuff. But I find it super interesting, and I think, like you were saying, I like to hear everyone's opinion and take on things and apply stuff where I can. Even the tax advisor and some friends that are financial advisors, I usually get to them through word of mouth. Through people that I know who trust them.
Yes.
And, with the businesses, we've been through a few financial advisors as well. So I don't think your first one is necessarily going to be the right one for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
find the right fit of person.
I think so. Yeah, someone that understands your I don't know, your way of life or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one. I have no definitive answers, because I've also just seen. I don't know if my life would change that much if I had a massive stockpile of money now. I doubt my day-to-day would change that much. I might be wearing more expensive clothes and go overseas more. But I forget. I don't know. I forget about money, and I just want to finish the project. Again, my stoke lies in something else.
I also get the sense of, even though you said that at some point you were the ones that couldn't rely on your parents when you started early, it doesn't sound like you worry about money either. You don't worry about. I mean, there's obviously some you plan, but you don't seem
I
to have
never, I never worried about it, but obviously when you get a family and a child, then
Yeah.
you kind of feel that now you have to worry because you're not just worrying about yourself, you're worrying about someone else. So I would say that
Sure.
definitely changed things a bit.
But not only that, I think even it sounds like it's not. Yes, you have to take into account that there's more people now in your life, but it doesn't sound like you have any kind of lack mindset in terms of
I think
because you even mentioned the flow of money and
yeah, that's interesting. I have definitely heard that before, and I mean, I didn't really think about it like that, but I guess so. That I don't have the. I've also heard another term used for scarcity mindset or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I have that. And I think it's because I've been fucking shit poor with the band, and even though there was that safety net of going back to your parents. I mean, myself and my parents weren't really speaking at that stage, so it wasn't really an option for me to go back home. And I've been fucking poor, and it just wasn't that bad. Look, I haven't been like on the street, sort of rock bottom. And hopefully, fucking, I'll never get there. But I don't know. I feel like there's always a plan to make. There's always some money. You can always make a plan. And
from actually just going back to that in terms of your childhood and your parents, what did they do just in terms of like jobs and things and did they what was their sort of ideas around money apart from probably just having a job but I mean what
was
kind
the
of sort of
environment
social
or the money environment?
What was their social status and what did they do?
I think my dad's a chemical engineer, but they started their own company with a few friends. They had like a foam packaging company that started to do really well, and so when I was young, you could feel the household income kind of rising. My dad would bought the house here in Bellville cash and got himself a fucking fancy red M5 Kusheshe. And at that stage, it was obviously in the 80s, it was fucking hype. And so I never had a lack, I would say, monetarily. But then they got divorced. I moved with my mom to Durban, and then the money sort of dwindled, or at least it just wasn't what it used to be.
Right, with divorce,
Yeah, so I don't really know, but I can't remember thinking like, "Fuck, I'm poor now," or like, I just can't remember it bothering me. I mean, I dig stuff, but I'm more of a dweeb or a geek. Like I dig comic books and storybooks and games more than ice and fucking bling and shit, or at least cars. that sort of social signaling kind of stuff. I don't really. I don't know if I'm slightly. Anyway, I'm not really into that.
Yeah. What do you? Yeah, carry on.
No, so and just like my parents gave, and then my mother passed away, and I moved back to my dad and his my stepmother or my mother now, and they gave me quite a big what do you call it? Not a salary. What's zakgeld?
Pocket money, allowance, pocket money. Yeah,
quite a big allowance, but I had to buy like my own toothpaste and shampoo and clothing and that kind of shit.
Is this in school now? So, you're still in school?
In school, yeah. And I was obviously terrible at it. I would just not buy it, spend everything fucking in the first week, and then fucking go and steal their toothpaste or whatever.
Make a plan,
Yeah, so, but exactly.
Did that teach you something?
I don't know. I don't know if it worked out. I'm trying to figure it out. In my mind, what I've learned is that you can always make money. And that's like, I constantly ran out of money, and I would just have to make a plan.
Just make a plan, yeah.
I don't know if that's everyone's reality, but like in my mind, There's always
Yeah.
something you can do, whether it's
You can
playing
do.
in like one of the biggest Afrikaans bands and then they break up and then I'll just go work at the fucking bar. You know, I mean, whatever. You can always do something for me.
Yeah. And what do you do with your money in terms of I guess hobbies? Like, or what else do you do in terms of I mean, I think hobbies do take some of someone's money. You mentioned gaming. I mean, I guess fashion is even a hobby of yours in some respects.
I guess yeah. I'm not that into fashion, but I love clothes. So fashion is.
Right.
I
Yes.
think Balenciaga or something. If I
No,
think
no, no.
fashion, I'm not completely there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I would say most of my salary goes into the house payment, the car payment, what we consume, like eat and drink, and not medical stuff, but like supplements and that. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
try to make
Health stuff.
try to do that basic thing,
Mm.
and then and medical aid and you know what I mean. All of those payments, and then with
Mm.
whatever I have left, it sort of depends. I don't have much time to game anymore, but I mean I've got a handheld Steam Deck and a PS4 and a Nintendo Switch. So I'm obviously into. I mean, I don't have a PS5 yet. Um,
When you're
I'm
older,
into
when you're
that
big.
shit. Yeah, exactly. When I can have the big TV, because then if you have the PS5, you need to upgrade
the TV.
the television. But
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I mean, I'm not super tech forward, but you know, I've got a good phone and a good sort of up to date laptop, and because I use that stuff all the time,
Yeah.
whether it's designing shit, social media posts and whatever. But I would say my I like books. I love buying books. But I
Okay.
have way more books than I have read. That's a bit of a problem.
Okay.
I'm quite into. I mean, I've got a Franz van Gogh action figure, Masters one, old CDs, and mostly books. Wolverine. I don't know. Fucking, I'm a geek. What can I say? But yeah, reading, and yeah, I dig sort of research buying clothing now. It's quite cool for me. I look for weird, uh, oversized Japanese pants, and I want to see how it's made. So I'll buy that. I think food. Yeah, food is. I like going to new restaurants and trying out new food stuff. I don't mind spending money on experiences. I would say a big thing for me is what can we do as a family together, and yeah. So to me, it's basically stories, whether that's gaming, watching films, reading books, comic books, what is it, narrative stories, um, and experiences, except for the basics. It's about what I spend my money on, really.
And
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I mean, it's just interesting to get to understand Hunter Kennedy a bit more, for myself and for everyone else who may or may not watch this. Your actually, I think maybe what I was interested in understanding, sorry, from what you said and just what I put together on the clothing side. How did that start? Because that's kind of like a new side hustle, if I can call it, a new direction,
Sure.
a side quest that you've gone on.
It is interesting. I mean, at 40, I don't know, midlife. I wouldn't say a crisis, but sort of that stock taking of your life definitely hit me on the money at 40 years old. I didn't think it was going to be like classic at 40, but it was. And that was sort of in COVID, just after COVID. I mean, COVID was a bit of a shit show. Once again, all of a sudden, like the income disappeared, right? Because I mean, we were making most of our money
live
from
performances, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Pierre and Vane are fucking both troopers. I think they were really stressing, but they still organized shit and managed to pay us. Obviously, everyone just took knocks in their salaries, and I mean, we got through that as well. So, anyway, just once again, in terms of my money, how I think about it, and you would just have to make another plan, like have a show online or fucking I don't know. I started writing for Apple Music, and they paid me to write write-ups of albums, and I don't know. So 40 hit me, and it was like a stock take. Like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And then I wanted to start some kind of a clothing brand, because it might happen that live isn't always going to be possible. Not that this is supposed to replace fucking playing live, but as we grow older, wanting to spend more time with your family, like we've scaled down on the amount of live shows, and so finding something to sort of replace that has always been on the back of my mind. But I thought I would start a clothing company with Snake and Marve, but everyone's busy like with shit, and I don't know. We just never got around to it. I would WhatsApp them late at night and be like, "Yo, we should do this."
When
and
you're thinking about it,
and everyone's like, "Yeah, we should do it," and then fucking nothing happens, But so and
you
then
need someone to drive it.
Yeah, and then Bubs approached me, I think about 2022, around the time when I was 40, and he had carried on when I left to play in Fokofpolisiekar. He carried on with the skate shops and shit. And so he's really good at dealing, like, money talking with people he doesn't know from overseas, right? So, like, I mean, I would never be able to do that. I would just be like, "Yeah, what do you think? What do you want to charge?" Fine, I'll pay it. That kind of shit. He's definitely not like that at all. He's more like the tell him they're dreaming kind of vibe. But yeah, so anyway, he was like, we should do something together. And I mean, I love Pubs. He's crazy, but I love him. And so I was quite keen on working with him. But he wanted to import brands again and sort of start up a shop maybe. But I suggested that if we're going to do all this marketing work, we're going to be doing it for other people's brands. Like, let's just start our own brand.
Oh, so I see. Okay.
I'm hanging an iron and backing and forthing for quite a few years. What are we going to do? And he loves shoes, so he wanted to do shoes, but everyone's like, and this reminds me of
shoes.
Yeah, everyone's like, shoes are fucking terrible business. And so we were like, we'll do that. And I don't know, it's been quite a, so I mean, it took 4 years to get to this point where we've actually launched a product. And it's quite hectic. It's just the two of us, so inevitably there are balls, like we're dropping balls all over the place. But we've fucking gooi. I tried to convince him for a few years not to call it my name. I just wanted to call it something else. But
something else, yeah.
Yeah, I just got shot down. We couldn't agree on anything, and so it was like, I have this platform, so maybe we can use the platform I have sort of as a stepping stone towards something bigger. Because if we want the company to be where we want it to be, we want to build a brand that's worth something in 20 years' time. Not necessarily that interested in catching trends or in and out kind of business.
Right.
But then it will have to be bigger than people who don't know me or my bands would have to be interested in buying it, right? So I mean, that's sort of the long term, the long term idea behind it. But essentially, he's the business guy, and I guess I'm like the creative guy. If you really wanted to, obviously we overlap and chat to each other about that shit, but that's kind of how it works.
Well, with that said, the shoes are great. I did buy a pair,
Yeah.
and I'm really loving them. And I'm also a shoe guy. I've got I was actually deciding today what shoes I'm going to wear, but I've got
Nice,
a
nice.
sneakerhead. So more, I
Yeah.
guess, on the basketball side and sneakers like that.
Classic
That was
shit,
my
dude.
sort of
Yeah, I mean, we can talk sneakers for sure. I remember
forever, man.
I got Ewings. I was also dick into the
Oh
basketball thing. I
wow,
don't know,
yeah.
and I had Ewings when I was younger, and the Reebok Black Tops. I love those, dude. So we definitely went through the
Yeah, I
basketball
just
sneaker
got my.
phase.
Yeah, I love the retros as well because I've gotten all the Reebok pump stuff again.
Oh,
The
cool.
little pump.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
love it.
I actually, because
Amazing.
when I was younger, I missed out on the Shack ones because I really wanted the Shack ones, and I ended up going to the States. And by that point, they tried to do this carbon pump thing that you pumped in, and I was like, oh,
I remember
you've
that.
just
Yeah,
shit, man, I've just missed the pumps,
yeah.
And I actually that I think he took over as the CEO of Reebok, so he's brought that out again and got the Shack pumps because I missed buying
I
those.
saw the pumps are back. Yeah, I mean,
Mm,
we obviously went for something else, sort of super clean,
sure.
something that'll last, something that you
Mm,
can. Our idea was that it's casual enough that you could wear it out, but you could also actually
mm,
wear it to work, and it
mm.
doesn't look like you're wearing Vans to work, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Um,
super comfortable, and
Amazing.
I'm
That's great to hear.
heavy set, so
Okay.
and my feet are starting to take strain in certain instances. Getting older as well. I'm turning 48 this year.
Shit. Yeah, it's
So
got a
very
crazy
comfortable.
insole. What's cool
Yeah.
for us is through Bubs' connections with the American skate brands, we got to a factory in China, that a reliable one that makes a lot of the skate brands
Okay.
in the US. So
Okay.
we knew that it was going to be quality from the start, because manufacturing is like a black hole. I mean, we've talked to Turkey, Portugal, China, Vietnam. We were like, at one stage we were on a call with someone from Australia, Poland, and the Netherlands, and so we spread it wide to find something that'll
To
work.
find it, yeah. Mm,
Yeah, it's quite a hectic business, actually. Yeah,
mm,
and I mean, we're sort of finding our feet.
mm.
Yeah.
Next, sort of like you mentioned movie that you might still want to do. What are like 3 things you want to do in the next 10 years still and put your name to dream
Mm.
stuff?
I mean, that it might change, but the things
Mm,
that's been solid since I was younger. Uh, I definitely want to write a storybook. I love reading. I love um,
mm,
writing.
mm.
So
Yeah.
it makes sense. I would love to write a novel, but I
Yeah.
mean, that takes a lot of time. I think
Mm.
if we weren't doing this clothing company, I would definitely be putting all my time
Be doing that.
into writing a novel.
Okay.
So hopefully I can make some time somewhere. I mean, I
Mm,
am interested in. I don't know if I'm. The making a movie thing is interesting to me, because I'm unsure what my role will be there. Whether I just want to
right.
write it and let someone else make it.
Mm,
But yeah, I'm basically trying, like when I was younger, music, movies, books,
yeah.
that sort of entertainment. It feels like it saved my life in a way. And
Right.
I've done a lot with music, but I still want to put out those formats of things that influenced me.
Right.
I mean, I studied fine art. I wouldn't mind uh, just making some stuff again. Like, I
Mm,
just have a need to self express constantly. So
mm.
whatever that is. But yeah, I mean, I would love to. I hope my work sort of brings me home. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
Brings you home
um,
to what do you mean exactly? Brings you
I don't
home
know,
to
closer to myself, closer to my family. That sort
yeah.
of, like, I love the idea of being somewhere remote. one day. Not necessarily stopping working, but like, I don't know, just getting closer to some kind of
you mean so that
source.
you not expected to be anywhere, that your art and your expression brings you home in terms of that you wouldn't need to be different places, but it could be
I think
done.
so. I think so, but that's also, that might just be because I'm busy at the moment. Like, I remember when we were touring, you'd be at home for 2 weeks, and then it'd be like, fuck yeah, and then you'd start to be like, fuck, I need to get back on the road again. Yeah,
but I guess the choice,
I don't know.
you want choice. You know, you might want to say no to something. Maybe the freedom of choice. The freedom of choice, maybe.
I'm terrible saying no because I'm just curious. So I'm usually like, yeah, let's do it. And then when it happens, I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have said yes to this. But yeah.
Well, thank you for saying yes to this. Number one.
Hey, yeah. Awesome.
Thank you for saying yes to other things when I asked you to, if I could get to the show, and even though I could have asked some other people, whatever.
No, fuck yeah, bro. Yeah, we've got some shit to do, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I didn't even mention that the first time I actually met you properly, obviously knowing about it, was that music video last year for Check for May, and your verse. The verse that you sing in that song is actually really one of my favorite, like in terms of nice. your stuff.
Oh, that was fun, dude. That was crazy. But yeah,
it was crazy because I rented a Porsche for it. But
we were in the pool in the winter. It was a crazy shit. Yeah. But I'm also quite keen on the Freddie L stuff. I mean, I think he's a super interesting muser. I would love to do something.
We'll get that together. Well, now it's here. If it goes out publicly, then it's in. Okay, we can do it, and we can and help you with anything that you want to do that you mentioned. If there's anything that I can help with in those things that you want to still get done, novel, bring you back to that art, let me know. I'm all ears,
man. And yeah. No, I don't know if your life is the same, but I don't know. It feels like to me it feels like I've sort of flowed through life, and just
I think in some respects my life is getting more like that as I'm worrying less about things like money. From a personal perspective, it's been something that I, for various reasons, have always felt like a lack, and I think that mindset it leads you into things that you don't necessarily want to do. And the more I'm not worrying about it, it's still consciously understanding it and forced to understand it for various reasons. I think speaking to someone like you and as well, and people that are less worried about these kind of things, it helps me do more of the things that I want to do. And my daughter recently actually said to me that the opposite of depression is expression. And if the more you express, and that's what authenticity comes with that as well. The more authentically you're expressing yourself in the way that you want to, life will lead you into that, and then you won't get depressed about money and worry about these other things.
Fuck yeah, man! I resonate with that. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, I was going to study fine art. I mean, I finished matric with art, and so art and music and things like that have always been a passion, but I've never really done anything specifically in them, and that's why I think the touch points we've had recently is in that line. I'm not a musician. I might have a good ear. There's certain things I love. I grew up on hip hop, and I love all music, like I think you do. You know, it's not about genre. It's about what gets. One of the biggest things I say these days is fuck genres. What gets people thinking? What gets people, what touches their heart? And on the dance floor, what gets them up and dancing and expressing themselves?
Oh yeah, agreed.
We're going to cut it.
Cheers, dude.
Lekker, dude. Thanks so much for this, man. Appreciate
No,
it a lot.
fuck,
And
thank you.
see you soon. See you soon.
Okay. Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.